On August 22, 2016, NBC Universal acquired competing studio DreamWorks Animation, which had given suspicion that Chris Meledandri was to oversee both animated companies. He was even approached by NBC Universal to do so, but he declined the offer and later stated, "I love the process of making films and working with artists. I don't think I'm particularly great at managing companies." And with that bit of trivia out of the way, let us sing our enjoyment for the next Illumination film called, well, Sing. In a world populated by humanoid animals, a koala named Buster Moon is desperate to keep his music theater alive since he is low on funds. He decides to hold a singing contest to bring in money, but a misprint on the flyers saying that the winner will receive $100,000, a mistake he tries to keep hidden from the contestants. Said contestants have their own dilemmas to face though, like Rosita the pig wants to be more than a housewife to her many children and is partnered with a flamboyant dancing pig named Gunter. Johnny the gorilla is pressured by his criminal father to join the family business. Ash the porcupine is constantly belittled by her toxic boyfriend Lance. Mike the mouse is so confident that he will be the victor of the contest that he gets in trouble with a gang of Russian bears, and Mina the elephant must overcome her stage fright to join the group. Production of Sing began in January of 2014, where Garth Jennings was said to be writing and would also direct an animated comedy for Universal and Illumination about courage, competition, and carrying a tune. Before being called Sing, the movie's working title was Lunch. Maybe they were planning on making the film an animated parody of My Dinner with Andre. Anyway, getting into the film's cast, on January 14, 2015, Matthew McConaughey was casted as Buster after some actors like Johnny Depp and Jesse Eisenberg turned the role down, and was also casted before the character got his name 5 months later on June 17, which on that date, actor John C. Reilly was reported to provide the voice of Buster's sheep friend, Eddie Noodleman, a role that Owen Wilson turned down. A few months later, in November, almost a year before the film came out, the actors who voiced the contestants were announced as follows: Reese Witherspoon, who voiced Rosita; Seth MacFarlane, who voiced Mike, making it the first time he did a voice for an animated family film since he's mostly known for voicing in adult cartoons; Scarlett Johansson, who voiced Ash; Tori Kelly, who voiced Mina and this was her first voice acting credit in film; and Taron Egerton, who voiced Johnny, and like with Kelly, this was Egerton's first time voicing in an animated film. Also, like with MacFarlane, this was the first animated family movie that Nick Kroll, the voice of Gunter, appeared in. Not just that, but Sing was also the first animated movie that actor Beck Bennett, the voice of Lance, was in. One idea that was tossed around for Sing was that the banker bull who gives Mike the platinum card was meant to play a bigger role, but this was shelved due to the filmmakers thinking it was too dominant. Some concept art made by Eric Gillen showed different designs for the characters, like all the characters initially did not wear clothes. Ash and Lance looked more gothic, Mike was supposed to be a rat instead of a mouse and had different clothes, and Buster was supposed to have a Tarsier-looking animal as a companion that was reworked into the character of Ms. Crawley. Like with all of Illumination's films, the animation was done at MacGuff in France. As for the music, which is the film's main selling point given the name, it has been stated that there are over 85 hit songs from the 40s to then present-day 2016.
Holy crap!
The movie's soundtrack, which includes classic songs performed by the film's cast as well as the original song, Faith, which was written specifically for Sing and performed by Stevie Wonder and Ariana Grande, was released by Republic Records on December 9, 2016, and the film score was composed by Joby Talbot. And early screening of Sing, while still needing some development, was released on September 11, 2016 at the Toronto International Film Festival. Also, Sing was at the time the last Illumination movie to be featured in a 1:85:1 aspect ratio until a few years later, but let's save that for later. When Sing came to theaters to give out its music on December 21, 2016, it received a generally great reception with a 71% score on Rotten Tomatoes, and Brian Truitt of USA Today gave the film 3.5 out of 4 stars and said that, in a year full of talking animal hits, Sing isn't quite as strong a number. It's a tale that might not be particularly thought-provoking but sure is toe-tapping. For the box office, the film managed to gross out $270.3 million in the United States and Canada and $363.8 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of $634 million, against a production budget of $75 million. It got nominated for different awards, like an AARP Annual Movies for Grown-Ups Awards, an Annie Award for Outstanding Music in an Animated Feature Production, a Golden Globe Award for Best Animated Feature Film and Best Original Song for Faith, a Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Award for Favorite Animated Movie, and so much more. But it did manage to win a Hollywood Music in Media Award for Outstanding Music Supervision. 3 months later, Sing was released on DVD, Blu-ray 3D, and 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray on March 21, 2017. Like many of Illumination's films, the DVDs include 3 short films: Gunter Babysits, Love at First Sight, and Eddie's Life Coach. The DVD sales made $63 million with 3.3 million units sold, which made it the 7th best-selling title of 2017. As for what I think of the film, I was pretty hyped to see it and already dubbed it number 4 on my theatrically released animated films of 2016 list. I did manage to read the script of the film when it got leaked online, and that plus seeing the film made me see that the movie did not live up to the hype I was feeling, but I do consider it to be an alright film. Sing is an okay film from Illumination and definitely a film to watch if you're a fan of music. Otherwise, it's a typical family film that the kids can enjoy.
Six months later, in summer of 2017, Gru comes back to theaters with Despicable Me 3. In this third installment, Gru is constantly trying to catch a villain named Balthazar Brat, who was once a famous child star on the TV show Evil Brat, but got cancelled when he hit a growth spurt. Due to his repeated failure to catch Brat, Gru and Lucy get fired by the new Anti-Villain League director Valerie Da Vinci. Soon enough, Gru ends up learning that he has a twin brother named Drew, and when he and his family go to visit Drew in the land of Fredonia, Gru ends up teaming up with his brother to finally take down Brat and get back into the AVL. While all of that happens, Gru's minions end up quitting when he refuses to use his fired status as an opportunity to go back into villainy, and when they attempt to strike out on their own, they get arrested. Plus, Agnes finds out that there might be a real-life unicorn living in the forest. Development of the third Despicable Me started in 2013, when character and production designer Eric Gillen started supervising the film as a co-director alongside Pierre Coffin and Kyle Balda. While production was underway in 2014, Chris Meledandri reported that the film was also in its early writing stages. The filmmakers intended to give each Despicable Me film its own larger narrative positioning, which allowed the expansion of the main characters' stories. Steve Carell, who came back to reprise Gru once more, stated that the movie may be his last time voicing Gru. However, he also said that if he was asked to do at least a cameo in any future Minion sequels, he happily would, though to anyone who saw the rest of the franchise you might see how that turned out. For the voice of Balthazar Brat, a buttload of actors were considered for him, like Diedrich Bader, Ty Burrell, John Cena, Will Forte, Josh Gad, Bill Hader, Ed Helms, Ashton Kutcher, Steve Zahn, John Malkovich, Ed O'Neill, Andy Samberg, Alan Tudyk, Bruce Willis, and Danny McBride, who voiced Gru's neighbor Fred in the first movie. However, in a similar vein to Seth MacFarlane from Sing, the part ultimately went to Trey Parker, one of the co-creators of the adult animated comedy South Park. Parker said that his infant daughter was one of the main reasons why he decided to take the role, because he wanted to be in a movie she would like growing up. Also, child actress Nev Sharrell would be the voice of Agnes after her actress from the first 2 films, Elsie Fisher, was not asked to come back since she grew out of the role. One last cast trivia bit was that Idina Menzel, the voice of Elsa from Frozen, was considered to voice Valerie Da Vinci before comedian Jenny Slate, who played Ted's mom in The Lorax and Gidget in The Secret Life of Pets, took on the role.
And disco!
That sounds exciting. Well, I won't interrupt. I've got a very busy day too.
Ha! Interesting. You're fired!
Going into some ideas for the film, Brat was meant to be a henchman to a villain that was more edgy, but the people at Illumination cut this villain out because he wasn't entertaining, and Brat was dubbed the villain after the creators saw his character design. The henchman idea was still used in the film but was given to Brat's robot sidekick Clive. Another idea was that Lucy's subplot would have been about her fighting crime in Fredonia, but that plot was reworked into having her be involved with the girls because the writers believed that the crime-fighting aspect was too disconnected from the rest of the movie. The deleted scene in question was going to include Lucy hunting down a purse thief through the cheese festival, and the chase scene would have involved a lot of cheese puns. To anyone who has watched the film, you might notice that apart from a brief cameo of being encased in frozen carbonite and a flashback, Dr. Nefario does not appear in the movie. Most likely because of the then controversy surrounding Russell Brand, and as such, Brand was not asked to appear. This movie is also the last appearance of voice actor John Seigan, who did background voices for the film, but to anyone who knows him, he provided the voice of Twitch, the muscular praying mantis toy from Toy Story 3. Seigan died on May 13th of 2017, over a month before Despicable Me 3 was released, and the movie was dedicated to his memory. Also, piggybacking on what I said about Sing being the by then final Illumination film to be made in a certain ratio, Despicable Me 3 is the first Illumination film made in a 2.35:1 widescreen aspect ratio. The film's soundtrack was released on June 23, 2017. On the soundtrack, Pharrell Williams released a new song called Yellow Light, which was made available through digital download and streaming. The film's marketing campaign included promotions, such as 600 taxicabs in New York having sculpted minions atop of them, and they had a Minionese greeting. Additional marketing partners for the film included Chiquita, Kellogg's, 23andMe, Ferrero, Tops, McDonald's, and Yummy Spoonfuls. The film debuted at the Annecy International Animated Film Festival on June 14, 2017, followed by a premiere at the Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles 10 days later on June 24th, before finally getting released in the United States on June 30th, nearly a week later. The film got mixed reviews from critics with an approval rating of 58% on Rotten Tomatoes. Alex Welch of IGN gave the film a 6 out of 10 score and proclaimed that, "It's not much, but Despicable Me 3 is at least enough for the younger fans of the franchise." It did manage to do better at the box office, though, as it earned $264.6 million in the United States and Canada and $770.2 million in other countries, receiving a worldwide total of $1.034 billion. It ended up being the fourth highest grossing film of 2017, falling behind The Fate of the Furious, the live-action remake of Beauty and the Beast, and Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Despicable Me 3 was nominated for many different awards, like an Annie Award for Best Animated Feature, a Golden Reel Award for Outstanding Achievement in Sound Editing, a Saturn Award for Best Animated Film, and so many others. 4 months later, Universal Pictures Home Entertainment released Despicable Me 3 for digital download on November 21st, and on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray, and DVD on December 5th. Physical copies contain many special features like the AVL database, behind-the-scenes featurettes, character descriptions, a Fredonian map, a do-wit sing-along version, minion mugshots and posters, a traditional short film, The Secret Life of Kyle, and a Yellow Light music video. Getting into what I thought about Despicable Me 3, I thought it was an alright film. Like Balthazar Brat was a pretty enjoyable villain, though him constantly recovering the diamond he uses for his scheme against Hollywood felt like he was too good of a villain. One aspect that I did not care for was that Valerie Da Vinci did not receive any comeuppance for unjustly firing Gru and Lucy. Other aspects like Lucy's plot felt cringy, but I did find Gru and Drew's scenes to be engaging, and the Minions subplot was decent at best. Despicable Me 3 is not perfect, but it is a welcome addition to the franchise nonetheless, and I do have some nice nostalgia for it. Over a year later, we go back to the realm of Dr. Seuss with a CGI animated retelling of his most popular book, The Grinch. In the land of Whoville, all of the citizens called Who's love celebrating Christmas, but a grumpy green creature named the Grinch is completely against the holiday as a whole, since Christmas was a time where he was at his most lonely when he was younger. Desperate to assuage his bitter feelings, the Grinch gets an idea to steal all of the Christmas decorations from Whoville. Meanwhile, Cindy Lou, who notices that her mother Donna works herself to the bone providing for her and her brothers. So, with the help of her friends, she plots to ask Santa personally to help her mother out. In February 2013, Illumination started development on The Grinch, with the working title being the original title from the book. How the Grinch Stole Christmas, which was later shortened to The Grinch. Yarrow Cheney and Peter Candeland were set to direct the movie, but in 2018, producer Scott Mosier took over. Candeland remained as a filmmaker but for additional story direction. Also, similar to Horton Hears a Who from Blue Sky, Audrey Giesel, the widow of Dr. Seuss himself, became an executive producer for the movie. The first design for the Grinch was originally how he appeared in the book. For the casting, when actor Benedict Cumberbatch was brought on to voice the Grinch, the people at Illumination wanted Cumberbatch to use his natural British voice. But Benny felt that it would be more sensible for the Grinch to speak in an American accent, especially considering that the rest of the cast consists of American actors, with the exception of the mayor of Whoville, who was voiced by the late longtime British actress Angela Lansbury. Speaking of the actors, Brad Dourif, the voice of Chucky from Child's Play, was supposed to be the narrator for the movie, but the singer for many songs of past Illumination films, Pharrell Williams, was given the role. And on a personal note, it would appear that Williams is doing a prototype for narration when he ended up narrating his life in the animated Lego autobiographical film, Piece by Piece, which is out in theaters as of this writing.
First of all, Snoop is very tall, and then he's in the studio with like 15 Crips who are all 6'5". You ever been in a city where you could see the fog really low?
For the animation, several software programs in MacGuff were used to create the film's CGI characters, including ZBrush, Maya, and Nuke, as well as in-house software, and a 3D CGI model of Whoville was made using these softwares and others alongside a virtual camera that could travel. For the music, the entire score was done by Danny Elfman, aka the guy who composed music for nearly all of the Tim Burton movies. The rapper Tyler and Elfman cooperated to create a new version of the "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch" song for the film. Beginning in October of 2018, advertising for the Grinch was everywhere. Like there was many billboards promoting the movie, with each featuring an image of the Grinch, accompanied by a message that fits his mean personality. The people at Illumination partnered with several companies for promotion purposes, including Wonderful Pistachios, IHOP, and 23andMe, and spent $80 million for the sake of advertising and an additional $121 million to promote the film worldwide. Another promotion tactic that was used was a giant inflatable balloon of the Grinch appearing at the 91st Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in New York City on November 23, 2017, which was one whole year ahead of its release. The Grinch was supposed to be released on November 10, 2017, but was pushed back a year to November 9, 2018. When The Grinch came to theaters then, it received a mixed reception from the critics, who praised the animation and the voice acting, but felt that the creative license was lacking. Coinciding with this, Amy West of Empire gave the movie 3 out of 5 stars and said, despite its storytelling ambition being 2 sizes too small, much like its hairy protagonist's heart, The Grinch is impossibly cute, visually rich, and boasts enough festive fun to satisfy young viewers. The Grinch earned 59% on Rotten Tomatoes. For the box office, The Grinch managed to gross $271.4 million in the United States and Canada, and $255.4 million in other countries, getting a worldwide total of $527.8 million, against a budget of $75 million. It ended up being Universal's second best-performing film of 2018, falling behind Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. Like with The Secret Life of Pets, an animated short based on Despicable Me called Yellow is the New Black was attached to the movie when it hit theaters that featured the Minions during their time in prison from the third movie and all the typical shenanigans that ensue. On a somber note, this was the final Dr. Seuss film to be released when Audrey was alive, as she died on December 19, 5 weeks after the film came out. The film was nominated for many awards, like an Annie Award for Best Music in an Animated Feature Production, Best Storyboarding in an Animated Feature Production alongside other categories, a Critics' Choice Awards for Best Animated Film, a Movie Guide Awards for Best Movies for Families, a Kids' Choice Awards for Favorite Animated Movie, and much more. The movie was released on digital HD on January 22, 2019, a few months later, before being released on DVD, Blu-ray, Blu-ray 3D, and Ultra HD Blu-ray on February 5, 2 weeks after. In addition to Yellow is The New Black, and in keeping with the Illumination tradition of adding in shorts to their movies' video releases, the DVD also has 2 short films called The Dog Days of Winter and Santa's Little Helpers, the former of which was first shown on NBC on November 23 after the 1966 Chuck Jones version of The Grinch, and before the DreamWorks Trolls mini-movie, Trolls Holiday. Getting into my personal thoughts about The Grinch, I figured that it was decent at best and middle of the road at worst, both in terms of being an Illumination film and being a Dr. Seuss film. I like some things in it, like the Grinch's sad childhood playing a key part in his Christmas-averse mindset, but most parts, like Cindy Lou, whose subplot felt kind of iffy for me. Heck, I even remember hyping myself up by watching a VHS copy of the 2000 Jim Carrey version a day before I saw the movie. I can't say that this is a definitive Dr. Seuss movie because I like the Chuck Jones special more, but I'd still take this over the Mike Myers Cat in the Hat movie. All in all, The Grinch isn't going to win any points for being the very best of what Illumination has to offer, but it is okay for what it is, especially considering that it tries to be its own thing like the rest of the Seuss movie adaptations while still at least trying to keep with the spirit of the original tale.